On some days, in the middle of life's busyness, we suddenly feel a weariness, as if we've walked too far from our own true self. A careless word is enough to stir the mind. One small disappointment can sour an entire day. Without noticing, we're pulled into the whirlpool of praise and blame, winning and losing, gain and loss, until we can't even explain why our heart has become so easily shaken. The ancients said something profound. The human mind is like water. When the wind is strong, the waves rise. When the wind stops, the water grows still. But the winds of the world rarely stop. The real practice is learning to keep the inner surface clear, not letting it be ruffled by every passing gust. Bodhidharma taught that to see one's true nature, the mind must become like an autumn lake, bright in its clarity, quiet in its depth. It sounds simple, yet it can take a lifetime. Stillness is not escape, and calm is not indifference. It is standing in the very center of the storm without being carried away by anger, anxiety, or other people's words. As we move into the later half of life, we begin to understand. Speaking loudly isn't strength. Arguing over right and wrong isn't victory. Reacting quickly isn't courage. Sometimes silence is wisdom. Composure is power. Inner quiet is peace. To be calm like water doesn't mean feeling nothing. It means you feel, yet you don't let feelings drive you. Water may surge and rush, but it always returns to stillness. A steady person is the same. They acknowledge sadness, recognize anger, witness pain, but they don't cling. Don't let these states rule them. Don't allow the outside world to shatter the lake within. When the mind settles, we see differently. Instead of rage, we see causes. Instead of grief, we see lessons. Instead of blaming others, we turn the light back on ourselves. And this training begins in small things. One mindful breath, one pause before speaking, one smile instead of a quarrel, one step back to see the whole. Only when we stop for a moment do we notice how much suffering we create through resistance, how much exhaustion comes from stubbornly holding on. When the heart becomes still like water, life itself seems to quiet down. For water reflects without possessing. An image appears, an image vanishes. Much of our pain comes from holding too tightly to what others say, to what has passed, to expectations, to old wounds. The more we clutch, the more crowded the heart becomes, and the less room there is for clarity. Bodhidharma taught, if even a single speck of dust remains in the mind, wisdom is already veiled. Whoever longs for peace must learn to let go. Like water, the heart can hold space without storing, receive without clinging. To be still like water is not to resist the natural way of things. Water flows to the low places and does not compete for height. It meets rocks and slips around them, finds crevices and passes through, falls into abysses and merges with the sea. Water never asks, why is life treating me this way? It simply moves, and in moving, it discovers its own path. A mind that is awake learns to follow conditions and respond to circumstances without forcing everything to obey personal will. This is not surrender. It is understanding that some questions need time and some tangles must be left to cause and consequence. Stillness, like water, means reflecting without judging. When we look into a calm surface, we see our own face clearly. When the mind becomes quiet, it reveals our anger, our envy, even the mistakes we once blamed on others. Clarity is not passivity. It is the courage to see ourselves honestly and to refine ourselves first so that life can settle on its own. This quiet is also a deep inner strength. Water is soft, yet nothing can truly defeat it. A steady person does not shout, yet meets big matters with insight. They do not rage, yet their composure commands respect because it is rooted in clarity and backbone. One who keeps the mind like water has no need to prove anything. Their calm presence is already the answer. And more than anything, this practice is a return to original nature. The mind is clear by default, only made muddy by the dust of the world. Fear, craving, expectation, money worries, pressure, comparison. The waves rise first from imagination. What has not happened, yet we believe it is happening. We fear losing what was never truly ours. We grieve what has not arrived. We scare ourselves with dark scenarios. A careless sentence from someone else becomes 10 negative possibilities. A strange look from a spouse turns into suspicion. A child's poor grade becomes a ruined future. A rough morning becomes the dread of losing a job. The heart cannot rest because it keeps mistaking thoughts for reality. And it also churns from attachment, wanting everything to go our way, wanting others to understand us, love us, and treat us exactly as we expect. But life does not revolve around one person's wishes. So when a word falls wrong, we bristle. When events resist us, we suffer. The tighter we try to hold, the more loss we feel when things refuse to be held. Bodhidharma taught that the more we try to hold on, the more chaotic the mind becomes. We fear loss only because we cling, and that fear keeps the heart in constant motion. Comparison is another wind that never stops blowing. Seeing others more than us makes us feel less. Someone else's success becomes our failure. Their happiness becomes our doubt. Their promotion becomes our insecurity. Comparison is like throwing stones into water. The moment you cast one, ripples spread. Only when we return to ourselves, without the eyes of rivalry, do the waves begin to settle. The mind also trembles because of other people's words. Everyone has a mouth. Everyone has an opinion. Yet we let those mouths become fans that stir our inner lake. One compliment can lift us for a day. One criticism can sink us for a week. A baseless rumor can steal our sleep for months. But in truth, other people's words are only wind. Wind is not the problem. Our permission is. When the water knows how to be still, the wind passes and leaves no scar. We also resist change, fearing the unfamiliar and clinging to the comfort of what we know. The awakened mind understands that change is life's natural current. The restless mind fights it, and that struggle only tightens the knots within. Most of all, the heart becomes stormy because we do not understand ourselves. We can diagnose everyone else with ease, yet rarely sit down and look inward. What makes me quick to anger, quick to hurt, quick to collapse? Without self-knowledge, calm cannot last. Like rowing a boat without realizing your own hands are churning the water, then blaming the wind for every wave. The wise do not try to crush the waves, they trace the wind to its root. Craving, fear, comparison, attachment, unnoticed burdens we carry. When we recognize the wind, we can step back, take one deep breath, widen our view, and the water clears by itself. Many people mistake being awake for merely being silent. No arguing, no rebuttal, no speaking back. But outer silence is not inner stillness. Some say nothing, yet inside them 100 undercurrents roar. Some appear composed, yet their chest is packed with resentment. That is suppression, not calm. Suppression is like forcing water down. The harder you press, the more violently it rebounds. True stillness, as Bodhidharma points toward, is not swallowing everything or pretending it doesn't matter. It is learning not to react immediately, not to let emotions seize the first move. Reaction is instinct. Composure is wisdom. The difference is the small, sacred pause before we speak, before we think, before we act. Our deepest suffering often comes from hurried reactions. A sharp word answered instantly, a disliked sight met with blame, a wound repaid with counterattack. Later, when the storm fades, we wonder why we exploded at all. Because we were carried by emotion with no anchor. Real calm is the moment we recognize anger without becoming it. Notice sadness before it floods. See envy before it stains the heart. When someone speaks harshly, instead of striking back, we can quietly ask, why does this sting? Because of them, or because something in me is still unsteady? That single question softens the wave. In the middle of conflict, the awakened person speaks less, listens more, and chooses only what truly needs to be said. In misunderstanding, they don't rush to prove themselves. They know those who want to understand will, and those who don't will twist any explanation into noise. Stillness is not weakness. It is authority. The one who reacts easily is the one being led. The one who can pause holds the reins. They do not shout to prove worth. Do not fight with the mouth, but with clarity. Like deep water, they are quiet because they are vast. And this is tested most in adversity. Anyone can be calm on sunny days, but to remain clear when life turns harsh. That is true strength. When work wavers, money tightens, family strains, health falters, when the unexpected arrives in a rush, panic never solves anything. Only steadiness reveals an exit. Like a person on a boat in strong winds, if they jump and thrash, the boat rocks harder. If they find balance, the boat survives the storm. Bodhidharma once taught, when the mind moves, the world moves. When the mind is at peace, the world is at peace. The line sounds simple, yet it holds the force of a lifetime of practice. In hardship, the first thing to do is not to wrestle the situation into a different shape, but to keep the heart from spinning into chaos. Only when the mind steadies can we see the true nature of what's happening, its causes, its contours, its possible way through. A turbulent mind sees only dead ends. A clear mind finds openings. Those who are awake tend to share one habit in crisis. They do not react at once. They take a long breath, step back and observe, refusing to let fear blur their intelligence. Some lose a job yet remain composed, understanding that losing a position is not losing a path. Some are misunderstood, yet do not rush to defend themselves, trusting that time will sort what is true. Some face illness with calm, knowing that worry only weakens the body and drains the spirit. Stillness in adversity changes the way we look at life. We stop calling every disruption a disaster and begin to see it as part of the river, like water meeting stone, flowing around it, dropping into the deep, rushing through rapids, never stopping, never declaring the journey over. Often, what we call misfortune becomes a hidden gift. The hardest days teach steadiness. Loss teaches gratitude. Failure teaches how to stand again. The restless mind treats adversity as an enemy. The steady mind meets it as a teacher. This steadiness also means not being swept up by the negativity of others. If someone is angry, we do not have to burn with them. If someone is hopeless, we can care without letting their despair flood our own heart. This is the skill of separating mind from circumstance, standing in the weather without becoming the storm. There is also a small lesson that has saved countless relationships and preserved countless peaceful days. Pause for 5 seconds before you speak. 5 seconds can be the boundary between calm and rage, between healing and harm, between wisdom and reflex. In anger, the mind is like boiling oil, one tiny spark and it splatters, scalding everyone nearby, including ourselves. Words spoken in heat are rarely the voice of understanding. They are the voice of habit, of self-defense, of wounded pride trying to strike first. Who hasn't regretted a sentence released too quickly? If only I had been silent for a moment. Those 5 seconds are an anchor. They don't make you weaker, they make you stronger because they give you space to recognize what's rising and choose your response with clarity. Picture a familiar dinner table moment. Someone says something that stings. A quick temper fires back instantly. But a practiced heart takes 5 seconds, one breath to let the first surge pass. And in that small gap, the reply becomes softer, wiser, far less damaging. In marriage, a minor misunderstanding can become a war simply because neither person paused. In work, one careless reaction to a colleague or a boss can cost trust, opportunities, even an entire road forward. The pause is not for enduring in silence, it is for seeing. Seeing the breath. Inhale, I'm angry. Exhale, I'm releasing. Seeing the emotion's strength and where it wants to drag you. Seeing the other person. Are they hurting or merely unaware? Seeing yourself. Will what I'm about to say make this worse? People think they can't change because they are naturally hot-tempered, But temper is often a practiced pattern, and patterns can be rewritten by small repeated choices, again and again. The 5-second pause. A father comes home exhausted. A child spills a cup of water. In that instant, he's about to shout, then remembers the 5 seconds. He sees the child's frightened face, takes a breath, and says gently, "It's okay. Let's clean it up together." That sentence preserves the peace of the home and plants a seed of love in the child. 5 seconds turned a potential wound into a quiet moment of warmth. We may not be able to change others, but we can change our responses. And our responses shape our life. Anger is a fierce wind. If we let it blow freely, it knocks everything down. But if we learn to close the door of the heart, the wind will pass. Bodhidharma taught that when the mind stops, karma stops. Karma is not some distant mystery. It lives in each sentence we release, each action we take, each moment we lose ourselves to ungoverned emotion. When we pause, we stop creating fresh harm. When we awaken, we don't throw words like stones that wound others and stain our own heart. 5 seconds can change more than a reply. It can change the fate of a day, the course of a relationship, even the direction of a life. Each pause brings us a step closer to peace. Each deep breath drains a little heat from within. And each time we gently brush aside a strong emotion, the inner water grows clearer and more still. This calm does not come from controlling everything. It comes from knowing what to release and what to hold. And the small doorway that opens into large clarity is often nothing more than that 5-second pause. Practiced daily, it softens us, lighter, gentler, more at ease, like water that becomes deeper, clearer, brighter as it settles. Among all practices for keeping the mind tranquil, watching the breath is the simplest and also the most powerful. Breath is the direct thread between body and mind. When the body is tense, the breath quickens. When the mind is restless, the breath becomes harsh. Let the breath slow and the body relaxes. Let the body relax and the mind settles, like an autumn lake after a passing wind. Bodhidharma said, "If you want the mind not to move, return to the breath. The breath is the mind's home." When the mind wanders into anger, returning to the breath is like coming home. When it runs into sadness, the breath allows you to know you are sad without being carried away. When thoughts become a storm, the breath reminds you there is always somewhere to lean. To watch the breath is not to force it deep or correct, but simply to recognize it as it is. Breathing in, knowing you are breathing in. Breathing out, knowing you are breathing out. Long or short, light or heavy, none of that matters. What matters is awareness. When you know you are breathing, the mind begins to stop on its own. There's a quiet law at work. Worry cannot remain strong when the breath becomes gentle. Anger cannot keep ruling when the breath becomes steady. Imagine a common moment. Someone speaks harshly. Your body heats up. Your heart races. Your mind tightens. If you speak right then, the words will likely be sharp and full of poison. But if you pause, one in-breath, one out-breath, the fire eases as if cool water were poured over hot coals. Or when fear of the future rises, money, strength, direction, thought after thought stacking like waves. Sit down, place a hand on your belly, breathe softly for a few minutes, and the waves slow. Breath reveals a crucial truth. Fear is often only a thought, and a thought is not reality. You don't have to be dragged by it. In moments when the mind is too turbulent, don't rush to solve, analyze, or reassure yourself. Just return to the breath. Inhale, know you are tense. Exhale, know you are releasing. That is enough. Many spend a lifetime searching for peace in distant forests, not realizing peace is already waiting in their own breathing. The deeper the breath, the wider the mind. The lighter the breath, the quieter the heart. Those who keep a mind like water aren't simply enduring. They know how to return to the breath the moment they feel themselves being swept away. And one of the biggest reasons the mind rarely becomes clear is this. We carry too much that isn't ours. Not our problem, yet we obsess. Not our sorrow, yet we shoulder it. Not our mistake, yet we accept the blame. Not our responsibility, yet we keep lifting it. The mind is small, but we try to hold the whole world inside it, then wonder why we are so tired. Bodhidharma taught, what isn't yours, let the wind carry away. Yet we often do the opposite. The wind passes, and we clutch it. Someone speaks carelessly, and we hold it in our chest for a week. Another person creates trouble, and we become the one who thinks the most. Someone else is angry, and we wear their anger like our own. We keep what never belonged to us, afraid that if we don't, it will fall. But the moment we release, we discover we never needed to carry it in the first place. To let go here is not neglect or irresponsibility. It is returning each thing to its rightful place. Whoever acts must bear the consequence. Whoever speaks must live with their words. Whoever is wrong must learn. Whoever is angry must settle themselves. We can care, help, and share, but we cannot and need not live other people's emotions for them. In family life, many suffer because they absorb everything. A child makes a mistake and the parents drown in guilt. A spouse is sad and the other person takes it as personal failure. Someone else is disappointed and we condemn ourselves. Compassion is precious, but compassion without boundaries becomes pressure, heavy for us and weakening for them, because everyone has a path to walk and lessons to face. At work and in relationships, we exhaust ourselves trying to manage what others think. Will my colleague be upset? Will my boss judge me? Will someone misunderstand me? But other people's thoughts belong to them, not to us. We cannot control the mind of the world. We can only control how we live, kindly, clearly, and with integrity. Those who want to understand will understand. Those who don't may twist any explanation into noise. The practice is not pleasing everyone, but setting gentle boundaries, knowing what you can offer and what you cannot carry. When boundaries appear, the heart becomes lighter. Letting go also means releasing the past, not forgetting, but allowing it to rest where it belongs, behind you. When we refuse to release old words, old wounds, old people, there is no room left for peace to enter. A person who is truly awake is a person who chooses. Keep kindness, release gossip. Keep sincerity, release unreasonable expectations. Keep what is yours, release what never was. Letting go is not weakness, it is strength. Only someone steady can return everything to its proper place. Only someone clear can see which burdens are theirs and which belong to life itself. The heart becomes like water again, flowing, unobstructed, not caught in another's emotional whirlpool. A lake stays clear because it does not cling to every piece of debris drifting by. The mind becomes clear in the same way by letting what isn't yours pass through. If there is one place that stirs the mind most easily, it is the family. At home, we are most real and often most careless. Outside, we restrain ourselves. Inside, we let instinct lead. And the people we love most are also the ones most easily wounded by our irritation, our sharpness, our unthinking words. Bodhidharma taught that a home is blessed when at least one person can remain awake. A family doesn't need perfection to be peaceful. It needs one steady heart, one soft voice, one person who listens more than they speak. Conflict is natural. What matters is how we meet it. A hot mind turns small things into big storms. An awake mind turns big matters into something manageable. A gentle sentence can dissolve tension. A softened gaze can lower another's guard. A deep breath can stop anger from igniting. Often, one person's change shifts the entire household. When a father slows his speech, a child feels less fear. When a mother loosens her anxious grip, the air in the home becomes lighter. When a spouse refuses to speak in anger, the other finds it easier to open their heart. Being awake in the family is not about winning arguments. It is about protecting harmony. Because harmony is the ground of blessing. Sometimes silence is not defeat. It is saving the home's fortune. Sometimes apologizing first, without worshipping the ego, is the highest strength, because it places peace above pride. Home is not a courtroom. It is a place to love and heal. And in modern life, where work is relentless, money feels never enough, and pressure waits at the door, the mind is easily thrown into waves. A job doesn't go well. A colleague is difficult. A client complains. Income feels uncertain and calm slips away. But when the mind loses clarity, we don't just work less effectively. We make decisions we may regret for a long time. This is why letting go of what isn't ours, holding to what is true, and returning again and again to steadiness is not just philosophy. It is a way to live. Bodhidharma taught that when the mind is unsettled, even small matters become enormous. When the mind is calm, even great matters grow light. Nowhere is this more true than in work and money. A restless mind works inside tension, impatient, reactive, easily provoked. Under pressure, it snaps, loses control and forgets direction, like a rower who stares only at the waves in front of the boat. The higher the waves, the greater the panic, and the greater the panic, the more certain the drift. But a steady mind rows by, looking toward the far shore. Wind and water still exist, yet the heart does not get dragged by them. It breathes, listens, sees the whole field, so problems are handled with clarity, sometimes resolved by one gentle sentence that would have been impossible in a storm. Stillness at work does not mean passivity. It means not letting emotion invade judgment, not letting fear eclipse ability, not letting unrestrained words ruin a path you've built for years. When the mind is shaking, don't make decisions about your career. When you're angry, don't reply. When you're afraid, don't choose a direction. Decisions made inside turbulence are often the ones we later pay for. The same is sharper with money. A little greed, a flash of anxiety, one moment of panic, wealth can disappear quickly. People invest by emotion, chase rumors, follow noise. When losses arrive, they panic, and panic multiplies mistakes. Some bring financial stress home and spill it onto those they love, turning a household heavy. Some destroy lifelong partnerships with a single burst of temper. Those who are steady with money often share three qualities. They are not excessively greedy, not excessively hurried, and not excessively afraid. They understand that money, like water, has seasons, full and low, and the real skill is not gripping it with white knuckles, but keeping the mind unshaken through life's changes. Many become prosperous not because they are smarter, but because they are calmer. When markets tremble, they watch. When opportunity appears, they don't lunge, they act at the right time. When hardship arrives, they don't collapse, they pivot. Their advantage is not only in assets, but in posture. And they know what truly matters. Money is necessary, but not worth trading away sleep, family harmony, or inner peace. Peace is not measured by a bank balance, but by the level of clarity within the heart. Most daily suffering, too, does not come from great disasters, but from the way we speak to one another. A careless phrase, a thoughtless look, a small sentence released too quickly can create wounds that linger for months or years. Bodhidharma warned that the mouth is a gate where karma is made. When the mind is awake, words naturally become kind. The restless speak fast, hard, and from emotion. The awake speak slowly, speak less, and speak to heal rather than harm. Mindful communication is not cold silence. It is saying what needs to be said and knowing when quiet is wiser. This begins with listening, truly listening, not merely waiting to rebut. When someone speaks, we don't rush to correct, conclude, or defend. We let them finish, let their feelings unload, let their unsaid truth find air. Many relationships break not because love vanished, but because no one is willing to listen anymore. When we listen with clarity, we notice what lies beneath. Behind anger is often sadness. Behind blame, a bruise. behind silence, a sentence that never learned to form. Seeing this softens our speech. We also learn to pause before speaking and ask, will this make the burden lighter? Is it necessary? If not, we smile and keep it. Sometimes silence is the highest form of respect. The hot-tempered think speed is strength. The awake know precision is strength. One slow, honest sentence can be worth more than 100 quick, sharp ones. To speak without quick judgment is another form of stillness. We see behavior, but not always the cause. Someone may be harsh because they are grieving, irritable because they are pressured, indifferent because they are exhausted. When we don't judge too quickly, the heart relaxes into compassion. In families, mindful speech reduces storms and gives children safety. At work, it builds trust and long-term respect. The most skillful communicator is not the one who speaks best, but the one who leaves others feeling more at ease. That is the power of presence. When you are steady, the other person steadies. When you soften, they soften. And yet, perhaps the fastest thief of peace is the mouth of the world. What people say about us. Praise makes us rise. Criticism makes us fall. Misunderstanding shakes us. Rumors pull at us. Bit by bit, inner quiet is traded away for words with unclear sources, unclear motives, and little real value. The practice is to remember, they are only wind, and you do not have to become waves. Bodhidharma taught that when the mind is clear like water, the world's talk is only a passing wind. If we still care too much about what people say, it means the ego still holds the reins. Afraid of being misunderstood, criticized, judged unfairly, so we react, explain, defend, try to prove we are right. Yet the more we prove, the more exhausted we become. The more we argue with public opinion, the louder it grows. The truth is, no one lives your life for you, so no one can fully know you. People see a fragment and conclude the whole, observe one moment and judge the entire journey. Their judgment belongs to them, not to you. Our mistake is letting their voice become the truth about us. To stay calm amid gossip is to answer with conduct, not with words. No frantic justification, no hurried rebuttal, no struggle to win. If someone speaks wrongly, let them speak. If someone misunderstands, let them think. If someone tries to darken your name, let them carry their own karma. Time is the clearest reply. What is right is proven by living, not by arguing. What is good radiates from character, not from speeches. What is clean does not need to be scrubbed with explanations. It brightens by itself as days pass. And often, people speak not from truth, but from their own wounds. The anxious see fault everywhere. The angry blame everyone. The envious distort what they see. Their words reflect their mind, not yours. Once you understand this, the heart becomes lighter. Stillness also means choosing what to hear. Listen to those who love you so you can understand. Listen to sincere advice so you can refine yourself. Words spoken in anger, set them down and don't believe them too quickly. Words born of ignorance, let them pass. Words meant to diminish you, smile and keep walking. As we mature, we realize not everyone deserves access to our inner world. Not every sentence deserves a place in our memory. Not every provocation requires a response. True peace arrives when we learn one simple art: let it be. Not abandoning responsibility, only releasing what was never ours to carry. The strongest person isn't the one who wins, but the one who isn't dragged by praise or shattered by blame. Nothing shakes the mind faster than when life refuses to follow our plan. A sudden change, an interrupted task, a hope that doesn't arrive, a trusted person acting differently. One small deviation and waves rise. But life is like water. It rarely runs in a straight line. Bodhidharma taught that clinging to my way is the root of distress, while moving with conditions is the doorway to peace. The more we resist, the more tangled we become. The hotter we get, the less we can see. A calm person treats the unexpected like a sudden rain. They may not like it, but they don't fight it. They open an umbrella, pause under shelter, and let the rain fall, knowing it will pass, and they will still continue. When the mind is clear, we stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Many detours are not punishments, but adjustments. Many losses are not cruelty, but invitations to release what no longer fits. Some lose a job and find their real calling. Some fail and discover how to stand firmly. Some lose a relationship and finally meet themselves. A blocked road can be a sign you were never meant to go that way. Much of growth begins with what doesn't go as planned. And when the heart stays awake, even today's hardship can become tomorrow's strength. One of the greatest sources of inner turbulence is worry. Worrying about what hasn't happened, what may never happen, what we only imagine. The more we worry, the more tired the mind becomes. The more we spin, the darker our intelligence grows. We live more in what is not yet than in what is here, not yet arrived, yet already feared, not yet confirmed, yet already assumed. And these unformed worries quietly occupy all the space where peace could have lived. Bodhidharma taught that a mind shaken by the future is a mind not yet awake. Worry solves nothing, yet it can make everything worse, stealing sleep, tinting life with pessimism, pushing us into mistakes born of fear, and inventing disasters that aren't real. Worry is a wind that never seems to stop. Awakening is the still water that refuses to be stirred. To be calm in the midst of worry is not to force the mind to stop thinking, because the more we try not to think, the more we think. True steadiness is to look directly at worry, but with clarity, not with fear. Set the worry down in front of you and ask, is this happening right now? What evidence do I actually have? What can I do concretely in this moment? Is this a fear my mind is building from the inside? When we ask like this, we realize most worries are imagination, not truth, and we are exhausted by events that never occurred. The steady mind understands that the future cannot be held in a fist. The tighter we grip, the more tangled we become. What we can hold is ourselves. When the mind is firm, affairs become steadier. When the mind is bright, the path becomes clearer. When the mind slows, wisdom opens. Like a lamp at night, darkness may remain, but the light ends our terror. Calmness amid worry is the practice of returning to the present, the only place we truly possess. The present is always smaller than our fantasies, lighter than our fears. When we come back to breath, worry shrinks. When we return to the task at hand, worry dissolves. When we sit quietly and listen to what the heart truly wants, worry becomes clearer and less frightening. Stillness is not doing nothing. It is acting soberly, doing what can be done, releasing what cannot be changed, and refusing to let worry steer the whole of life. Many people fear the future so much they cannot live today. Afraid of loss until they lose themselves. Afraid of poverty until the heart is heavy. Afraid of loneliness until they manufacture suffering. Afraid of failure until they don't dare step forward. Yet most of what we fear never happens. And what does happen, we somehow survive, because we are stronger than we think. The awakened person doesn't try to erase worry completely. They accept that worry is part of life, but they do not let it lead. They let wisdom lead, let clarity lead, let the breath lead. And they discover that when the mind is awake enough, worry becomes gentle, like an undercurrent that returns to normal as soon as there is space and silence. In a world of constant change, to keep one root of peace inside is a blessing. Not because life has fewer waves, but because the heart has less fear. Relationships, too, are a powerful source of unrest. Not everyone fits us, understands us, or treats us kindly, and the tangle of human bonds can tire the mind more than any storm. Bodhidharma said, "When the mind is clear, we see people with wisdom. When the mind is agitated, we see them through our wounds. When we're hurt, we assume the problem is them. Yet sometimes the problem is our own lack of clarity to see what's really happening." The restless mind sees only behavior. The steady mind sees causes. The restless mind feels insult. The steady mind notices the other person's insecurity. The restless reacts. The steady observes. Not everyone who is difficult hates us. Some are simply hurting in their own way, pressured by life, trapped by things they cannot say. Stillness in relationships means not rushing to conclusions based on a few encounters. The rough person isn't always bad. The overly sweet person isn't always good. The one who speaks harshly may be honest. The silent one may be the most understanding. Steadiness also means lowering expectations. Often loneliness isn't the absence of people, but the weight of expecting too much from those who cannot give. When we expect less, we are disappointed less. When disappointment lessens, the heart naturally settles. It also means not carrying what isn't ours. Let misunderstandings clear on their own. Let dislike follow its own karma. Let gossip be carried away by the wind. Let distance happen if fate arranges it. Trying to hold someone who isn't meant for our life only becomes self-torture. Placing the relationship down quietly and keeping peace is how we make room for better connections to enter. And calmness here is not numbness. It is knowing which feelings to keep and which to let pass, which people to hold close and which to let walk by. The awakened person cares less about who is right and who is wrong, and more about whether they remain peaceful and intact. If a relationship helps you grow, keep it. If it drains you, forces you to shrink, or makes you lose yourself, letting go can be kinder than clinging. Life is wide, people are many. We are not lacking love, only needing the right direction, the right choices, the right heart, and the right timing. In the end, among countless relationships, the most important one is the one you have with yourself. The hardest part is not staying calm with others, but staying gentle with your own weaknesses, fears, and hidden wounds. We can smile at the world, yet struggle to smile at ourselves. We can forgive others, yet punish ourselves until we're exhausted. To become truly awake is to learn the same compassion inward, to hold yourself with the softness of water and the steadiness of a mountain. Bodhidharma taught that to steady the outer world, we must first steady the inner one. And what is this inner world? It is the nameless thoughts, the unspoken feelings, the hidden sadness, the wounds we assume have healed, yet still ache when touched. We spend a lifetime searching for peace outside ourselves, but real peace arrives only when we sit down and face who we are, without running, without blaming, without turning the knife inward. To be still with oneself is to accept that we are human. We make mistakes, we grow tired, we have fragile days. We do not always have to be strong. We do not always have to perform perfectly. Sometimes simply breathing is already a great effort. There are moments when the kindest thing we can do is not to push harder, but to close our eyes and let the exhaustion be witnessed. A calm mind is not a mind that never feels sadness or disappointment. It is a mind that can hold its sadness with understanding instead of judgment. We often scold ourselves. Why am I so weak? Why am I not like others? Why can't I just get over it? Yet what we are missing is gentleness. Stillness with oneself is learning to listen to the quiet voice inside instead of chasing the noise outside. The world insists we must succeed, be rich, be tough, never be wrong. But inside, there may be only a soft sentence. I'm tired. Can I rest for a moment? When we finally listen, we realize how long we have been pressing ourselves beyond what is humane. To be awake with oneself also means refusing comparison. Each person has a different road, a different rhythm, a different pain, a different share of luck and lessons. Some arrive faster, but carry trials we cannot see. Some move slowly, yet remain steady through storms that would break others. No one is ahead, no one is behind. Everyone is simply walking at their own true pace. It also means releasing the past, You did the best you could with the understanding you had, the circumstances you faced, the heart you carried at that time. Punishing yourself now will not improve yesterday. It only burdens today. Awakening is placing a hand on your chest and saying, "It's okay. I can begin again. I am still learning. There is still a road ahead." This inner stillness is nourished by small things: an evening walk, a warm cup of tea, a few minutes of quiet breathing, a page of journaling, a simple prayer that steadies the heart. Those who are awake do not live in haste. They do not chase the endless cycle of gain and loss, right and wrong. They live by breath, by presence, by gratitude, keeping a small refuge in cold for the moments when life turns rough. And when you learn to be calm with yourself, you stop fearing the world's chaos, because you know there is a place within you that no one can invade, a home you can always return to, clear as water after rain. Half a lifetime can be spent running after work, money, status, love, expectations, worries, and the hunger to win. Yet in the end, what matters most is not what we collect outside, but the quiet place inside that can receive us. The mind is like water. When it churns, even the sky looks distorted. When it settles, everything becomes clear. Stillness is not avoidance, not surrender, not silent suffering. It is living amid turbulence without letting the heart be stirred, holding what you can hold, releasing what you cannot, returning each thing to its rightful place. When others are hot, you choose softness. When life pushes, you choose slowness. When worry rises, you return to the present. When gossip swirls, you refuse to let it muddy your inner lake. This is a strength of a different kind, strong without overpowering, strong without arguing, strong without proving, strong from within, born from a mind that understands itself. And one day, after enough storms and bruises, we understand. Nothing is worth trading for inner peace. Not money, not fame, not someone else's approval, not the past, not the future. A peaceful mind is the greatest wealth. An awake mind is the deepest blessing. A clear mind is the surest path. And even when worry tries to claim the heart, worrying about what hasn't happened, what may never happen, what we only imagine, we remember. These unfinished fears take up the space where peace could live. So we breathe, we soften, and we come home. Bodhidharma taught that a mind stirred by the future is a mind not yet awake. Worry solves nothing, yet it can make everything worse, stealing sleep, tinting the world with pessimism, pushing us into mistakes made from fear, and inventing troubles that aren't even real. Worry is a wind that never seems to stop. Awakening is the water that refuses to be infected by that wind. To be calm amid worry is not to force yourself to stop thinking. Because the harder you try not to think, the more the mind loops. True stillness is to look straight at the worry, but with clarity rather than panic. Is this happening right now? What evidence do I truly have? What can I do, practically, in this moment? Is this fear something my own mind is building? Asked this way, Worry often collapses into what it really is: imagination wearing the mask of truth. Those with a steady mind understand that the future cannot be held in the fist. The more we try to control every possibility, the more tangled we become. What we truly need to hold is ourselves. When the mind is firm, affairs become steadier. When the mind is bright, the path becomes clearer. When the mind slows, wisdom opens. Like a lamp in the night, darkness doesn't vanish, but light makes us stop fearing it. Stillness in worry is also the practice of returning to the present, the only place we actually possess. The present is smaller than our fantasies and lighter than our fears. Worry is strong only when it lives in the head. When we return to the breath, it shrinks. When we return to the task at hand, it dissolves. When we sit quietly and listen to what the heart truly wants, worry becomes clearer and less terrifying. This is not passive resignation. It is choosing lucid action, doing what can be done, releasing what cannot be changed, refusing to let worry steer the whole of life. Many fear tomorrow so much they cannot live today. Afraid of loss until they lose themselves, afraid of poverty until the heart stays heavy, afraid of loneliness until they create their own suffering, afraid of failure until they dare not move. Yet most of what we fear never happens, and what does happen we often endure because we are stronger than we imagine. The awakened person does not try to erase worry completely. They accept it as part of life, but they do not let it lead. They let wisdom lead, clarity lead, breath lead. And then worry becomes like an undercurrent, felt, but no longer ruling. Given a little silence, it returns to calm. Relationships can stir the mind even more than worry. Not everyone fits us, understands us, or treats us kindly, and the confusion of human bonds can drain the spirit. Bodhidharma taught, when the mind is awake, we see people with wisdom. When the mind is agitated, we see them through our wounds. When someone hurts us, we assume the problem is them. Yet sometimes the deeper problem is that our mind is not clear enough to see what is happening. The restless mind sees only behavior. The steady mind sees causes. The restless mind feels insult. The steady mind notices the other person's insecurity. The restless reacts. The steady observes. Not everyone who is cold is cruel. Not everyone who speaks harshly intends to wound. Sometimes they are simply hurting in their own way, pressed by life, carrying what they cannot say. Stillness in relationships means not rushing to conclude who someone is after a few encounters. The blunt person isn't always bad. The overly sweet person isn't always good. The one who speaks sharply may be honest. The silent one may be the most understanding. It also means lowering expectations. Often, the deepest loneliness is not the absence of people, but the weight of expecting too much from those who cannot give. When we expect less, we are disappointed less. When disappointment loosens, the heart naturally settles. We also learn not to carry what isn't ours. Let misunderstandings clear on their own. Let dislike follow its own karma. Let gossip be carried away by wind. Let distance happen if fate arranges it. Trying to hold someone who isn't meant for our life becomes self-torture. Placing the relationship down quietly and keeping peace is how we make room for better connections to enter. Calmness here does not mean numbness. It means choosing which emotions deserve a home in the heart and which should be allowed to pass, which people should be held close and which should remain only a chapter. The awakened person cares less about who is right or wrong and more about whether they remain peaceful and intact. If a relationship helps you become kinder and clearer, keep it. If it exhausts you, forces you to shrink, or makes you lose yourself, letting go can be a form of mercy. Life is wide. People are many. Love is not scarce. What matters is walking in the right direction, choosing the right companions, keeping the right heart, and releasing at the right time. When the mind is awake, worry softens and relationships untangle. Not because life becomes easy, but because the heart becomes clear. You stop chasing approval, stop trembling at praise and blame, stop fearing abandonment. You stand upright, soft as water, steady as a mountain. And after all the many connections in the world, you come to see the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself.